Alright guys, my name is Metagoblin. Today got a very interesting video for you. We're essentially going to be doing a bit of a discovery, a bit of an investigation video into the Flamelash EU server. Apparently this server is so overpopulated by the Horde that there is literally basically no alliance left, and it's 99% dominated by Horde, and there's literally more Horde players dominating Ironforge right now. So what I thought I'd do is I'll make a character, we'll have a look at it for ourselves, let's see how bad it is, and I'll, overall just give my thoughts on server faction imbalances and stuff like that, and ways that I would personally kind of fix issues from this happening, and what I'd recommend Blizzard to actually do in the future moving forward. But anyway, I'll make a character. I don't exactly know what to call him, but I'll decide that in a little bit. Just before I jump in, guys, please do give me a quick follow on Twitch if you want to catch any of my live streams. I actually managed to call my character Metagoblin, so this will be interesting. Let's log into the game, and obviously it's probably going to take me a while to actually get to Ironforge, but that's why I made a dwarf. It's going to be much faster. Let's skip the cinematic, and I'm going to disable all my add-ons as well, actually. Okay, so we're in the game. I see no alliance players, but even on populated servers you can get into this situation where you barely see any players anyway. So I'm going to start making the journey to Ironforge, and let's see what the crack is. Let's see what's going on. What I might do is I'll log in. Obviously at the moment it's kind of like the afternoon, so it won't be peak time. I'll probably log in as well later on during peak hours as well, to again just have a little look at what's going on this server. Another reason why I picked Priest is because we have the heal spell pretty much straight away, which will allow me to get through this mine hopefully. But even if I don't, I could probably just spirit res or something. But hopefully I should be fine. So I've joined the World and Looking for Group channels, and I've been in it for about 2 minutes. There's been absolutely no messages. Interestingly, when I went to Horde, there is 50 people found. What we can do from here is actually look at Ironforge, for instance, and see how many people are actually chilling in Ironforge. 6 people are in Ironforge right now, and it seems like most people are in the battlegrounds. If we go back, most people are just in battlegrounds. People are leveling on this server by the looks of it. I really do not understand why. I guess people, unfortunately, this is a really sad thing to say, but people might just be that oblivious to what's going on this server. They literally don't know because they've just started playing the game, and they're going to invest all this immense amount of time into leveling a character and find out that they will probably have to re-roll. So that is a sad thing, but it is what it is. Okay guys, finally entered Ironforge and picked up a gnome costume on the way, and this is Ironforge. There is literally nobody here. I can't see a single person. Let's check the bank, but I doubt there's anyone going to be inside here. Yep, absolutely nobody inside the bank. This really is a dystopian experience. This is very strange. It's interesting in a way, just how little people there are on this server, yet I can go and log onto my main server and there's like hundreds of people. I imagine most people are going to be in the military quarters, so we'll go check there as well, but this is literally an empty Ironforge on a live server. This isn't on like a private server or anything. It may as well be on a private server right now. Oh, a player, look! Level 55. Thanks for the cone of cold. Okay, well, we saw one level 55 player. I mean, what is he doing on this server? Maybe we should ask him. I'll go back and maybe ask him, but let's go and look at the military quarter. It would be interesting to talk to a few people on the server and just figure out why they're still even on the server in the first place. Do they know that this is not the way World of Warcraft is supposed to be? Really, it is interesting. If you look at servers even on retail today, there's servers like Draenor, which is totally dominated by Horde. Be interesting to see what the Alliance are doing on on Draenor EU as well. Maybe I can make a video about that. But yeah, it looks like there's one person here AFK and one other person. I know, a Shadow Priest. Called Priestitute, which is pretty witty name. But yeah, there's just like no one here. It's basically what's happened is Horde have won, right? The Horde have actually just won on this server. It's totally bizarre. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log on during a more peak time and see if it's any different. So I'll log in later. I'm going to maybe do some battlegrounds for a little bit. And yeah, I'll log back in on peak time, see if there's any difference, see if there's any Horde here. But I can't imagine any Horde will be here anymore because they've got battlegrounds to do, so there probably won't be any Horde. In fact, there's probably not even that much point of checking at peak time. But I might put one clip in about peak time. But what I'm probably going to do right now is actually show you some screenshots of this server of Ironforge in its like absolute worst state of. Put some screenshots on the screen right now. I also found some really good footage from the Lonely Walks channel, which I recommend checking out too. And he has a little bit of footage from what I would imagine was basically the Phase 2 phase, pre-Battleground Phase 2, where people can only farm, honor points from actually doing world PvP. And you can see how bad it is there. But basically, people are standing up on this this part of the map, basically avoiding so they can evade guards and then jumping up and down to basically take down players and farm their honor points. So yeah, that looked pretty bad, and that's probably what really killed this server. And what I wanted to finish basically talking about when it comes to the server is how could Have Blizzard fixed issues from this happening? Because obviously it is a real big issue. This is one of the things they wanted to avoid. This is why they originally released the game with very little servers. Okay, but obviously releasing the game with very little servers wasn't obviously the best strategy at all, because obviously they obviously underestimated the amount of popularity that this and interest that this game would have actually get. So a lot of people have talked about this in the comment section of my videos, and the best idea that I read is having a separate queue for each faction. So you have a queue for the Alliance and a queue for the Horde. So basically it would force the server to be constantly balanced, which would mean that it would be a bigger queue for Horde, obviously. Say for instance, if this server or my server's about 30%, sorry for knocking the mic there. My server's about 30% Alliance and 70% Horde. There's actually more undead players on the entire server than there is in Alliance players. And at the moment on my server, I can't do a server transfer. Okay, there's no free transfer server option for me. And the reason why there is no free transfer option is because of a look at Flamelash. Everyone had a free transfer option on Flamelash to move off Flamelash. Look what happened. Okay, the server totally died because of the free transfer. Now they have faction-specific transfers. I can't move off my server because I'm Alliance, but the Horde can. Obviously, that's Blizzard's way of basically stopping something like this happening again. However, it basically all it does is really slow down the process. Shadowsborough will probably end up like this at one point. Give it a year, it probably will progressively get worse. I've already re-rolled onto a new server and I'm casually leveling a server with a friend. That new alt might become a main. You never know. Depends. Just looked in my chat there. There's someone called Meme Boy who's looked in the world. He's saying, "Hello, I came to this meme realm. Any living people here?" I guess I'll say, yeah, hi. Anyway, if you had a separate queue for each faction, what would happen is that obviously the server would constantly be balanced. There should only be a 10% balance leeway. And what I would recommend basically is if this was in place, the queue would be bigger for the Horde than it is for the Alliance. In fact, there might not be a queue for the Alliance. But when obviously the Horde will have a bigger queue, it will take the Horde longer to get into the server, and then you give them the free character migration option. And because of this, the server times, that will give people an increased incentive on the Horde side. So, on the Horde side, to basically obviously move server. Obviously, the downside of this is that one faction is always going to be in a really big queue. But I think it's a necessary evil, a necessary just pain in the backside that I feel like is needed in the game in order for this not to happen again, in order for like servers not to totally die. In fact, the only way that I can see this being fixed is if there's a server out there that is massively dominated by Alliance, it needs to be merged with this server, because obviously, like in the past, I'm pretty sure servers have merged. If you look at Star Wars: The Old Republic, when Star Wars: The Old Republic was released, there was a massive drop-off of the population after a few months because, well, EA decided to rush the developers and there wasn't enough content released for endgame content, so everyone got bored and just basically quit. What happened, there must have been like 20 different servers for Star Wars: The Old Republic, and what they did is they basically thinned that down to about 5 servers or something. So they picked the most highest populated servers and they thinned them down and essentially gave everyone a free character transfer, like everyone on that server. They killed the servers, and then everyone was able to just move on to whatever server they wanted. I think an option like this should be put into place for this server, because I guess the Horde probably not that bothered, but again, like, this server has basically become a boring PvE realm where you never see the opposite faction. I imagine that's probably going to be quite boring for Horde. What I would do is I would just kill this server and give everyone a free character transfer to a different server. Everyone, and obviously guilds would go where they want, you know, all together, and I think it'd be fine. Everyone just needs a free character transfer on the Horde side, because obviously they've removed the option for the Horde to transfer because they're on the overpopulated side. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe the Horde still can transfer on the server, but this server is no longer considered a, you know, overpopulated server. It's not a full server. There's no server queues anymore because the Alliance side has died so rapidly, which means there probably isn't a free character transfer option. In fact, I might maybe delete this character and have a little check. But yeah, there is no option now. So what I would do personally is just totally kill this server and give everyone a free character transfer option onto only medium or low populated servers, obviously, which will probably be like Bloodfang and Dragonfang at the moment. So I mean, that would be good. And like I said, I just think that a faction-specific server queue would fix server faction imbalances. First of all, it prevents any issues appearing in-game, because it will literally be impossible for the server to be imbalanced, because the server queue would prevent that from happening. And then on the servers that have a slight imbalance currently, what would happen is it would give an increased incentive for people on the overpopulated side to switch server, and then hopefully over time it will actually balance out. And even if it doesn't balance out, it'll be fine, because having a specific queue for each faction just pretty much prevents the issue from occurring. But however, if there's on servers where the, you know, one faction is just is too severely imbalanced, then yeah, fair enough, there might be a little bit of an issue, and a massive revamped kind of strategy needs to be put in place for those servers. Like I said, killing the server and giving people free character transfers, merging 2 low populated Alliance servers together, and giving the Horde characters a free option to transfer onto a different server, and, you know, forcing the balancing to effectively happen. That would be the way I would do it, because obviously you do not want issues like this to occur again. I mean, this is a pretty serious issue. I can see a few more players now, but before there was literally nobody here. I was talking to someone and I asked him why people were still here, and he basically said, like, well, people just missed the free character transfer option, so that's the only reason why people are still here. And it looks like people are literally just chilling on Battlegrounds or doing chilled, like, solo leveling, and that's it, and that's all people are really doing. So yeah. But anyway, guys, this was an interesting investigative video into a totally dead server on Classic WoW. My name is Metagoblin. To my next video. Ciao.